Like these ahas. They're orange and pamplemousse.
They're actually pretty good. I'm not gonna lie. I like it a lot.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, Aha came out with a whole bunch of new flavors, and they're like these mixtures. I think they got one that's like raspberry and akia berry or something like that, and they're pretty good.
Nice.
Yeah.
Are they like Bubbly's competition?
Yeah, they're Bubbly's competition. They're kind of like higher end because like you can get for like a really good price, you can get like I think the Blue Menu fizzy waters from anything President's Choice, so Superstore, anything like that, and they're good, but they're a lot cheaper. Where these are like this is like the Pepsi, I would say. Like Bubbly might be the actually. Hey, wait a second. Let's find out here. These might be
Some bougie water.
yeah. Well, so they're bottled in Canada because it might actually be Coke or Pepsi that owns them. Usually it says on here. Coca-Cola. This is the Coca-Cola one.
Bubbly their own thing, or are they owned by someone too?
You know what? Maybe they're owned by someone. Do you got your phone on you? You could pull it out and check. While you're doing that,
Fact check.
welcome to the first episode of the Canadian Specific Podcast. I'm your host, Jaden Marshall. For the first episode, I got my brother, Benjamin Marshall. We call him Benj on the podcast. But sometimes you go by Ben, eh?
Yeah, a lot of people, normal people call me Ben. Family and really close friends call me Benj, and then in a professional setting, people call me Benjamin
Okay.
or Marshall.
Yeah. Never Benji.
Never Benji. Only Uncle Scott.
Uncle Scott, yeah. Yeah, I remember growing up, you were always Benj, and I'd be, if someone called you Ben, I wouldn't know who they're talking about because there's been another Ben in the area, the Bruderheim area.
Yeah.
First I'd be confused, and then I'd be, I don't know if I guess zealous might be the right word. I'd just be like, it's not Ben. What are you doing?
Yeah, I couldn't stand when in school. I was used to it because everyone called me there. But outside of school, like in public or anywhere else, if someone called me Ben, I was like, "Okay, like you have to call me something different. I can't handle it outside of school. Like school, for whatever reason, school I could handle it, but everywhere else I couldn't."
Because what did Mr. Hope call you?
He called me. He called me a lot of things. He called me Benjamin. That was a big one.
Yeah.
He called me Marshall too, when you and Jarrett left.
Yeah.
He called me salad dressing for a little while because it was just an inside joke that we had. One day we just started calling him crouton, and then he started calling my buddy lettuce, and he called me salad dressing. But yeah, he was always Benjamin.
That's funny. Did you figure out who owns Bubbly?
Yeah, Pepsi.
Pepsi does. Really?
Yeah, big competition.
Dude, are you able to figure out who's making more, Pepsi or Aha? Bubbly or Aha?
Bubbly.
It's pretty strange how like their names aren't like Aha is not correlated at all with soda water aside from the. I wonder how they tested this. They must have spent a lot of time marketing because Bubbly makes sense, and then they hired Bublé to run all their a bunch of their ads, and that's it's pretty funny. Like it worked really well. They definitely I think had like a better rollout because I saw a couple of Bubblies and then I saw the Bublé thing, and then you see Michael Bublé talking about the fizzy water. It was funny, but Aha, not a lot of advertising. It's really good, but
yeah, there was when I searched who owns Bubbly, it was like, does Michael Bublé own Bubbly? It's one of those searches.
Maybe he's got like a little stock option along with his compensation.
It sounds like, just looking at these articles here, it sounds like, they're all favoring Bubbly just because like this one says has an impressive array of 15 fruity flavors, while most of them are pure single fruit flavors. A few like the blueberry pomegranate Bubbly are a mix of flavors. Meanwhile, Aha only offers 8 flavors, so it's like,
oh, okay. It's a hit piece. Yeah. It's a corporate hit piece. They probably publish this in their corporate newsletter. Yeah, that's hilarious. I wonder if where was I thinking about? My mind blanked a little bit, but oh yeah, they brag about there's a bubbly out there with 15 flavors in it, like Dr. Pepper. I was talking with a coworker. I might see if I can get him on or not. Or I guess an ex-coworker because I quit my job, but we'll talk about that in a bit. But he said he went on this really funny America rant because he spent a bunch of time growing up there before he did some professional sports. And yeah, I guess he was informing me that there's nothing more American than Dr. Pepper, because why have one flavor when you can have 23? And just like what KFC has, how many spices? Is it seven secret spices?
Seven whatever.
Coke has a bunch of secret stuff in it. Yeah, maybe that is pretty American, just putting everything in it, and if it comes out, it tastes good. I don't know. It sells. People like it, so there you go. But yeah, that's pretty funny. But yeah, I quit my job. Yeah. I got a little upset because of some decisions were being made. I won't go too much onto it in case the whole company finds out about this. But they were just asking me to work weekend without compensation to appease an executive, and that didn't, like, during Father's Day weekend, and that just didn't sit right with me.
Yeah.
I also have a new job lined up in September. Hopefully that works out. Gonna go work on a railroad overseas, but I'm opening myself up to a little bit of risk. But actually, it's funny. I was talking to our dad, and there's actually a lot of stuff that I got to do to prepare to get over there. Otherwise, I'm just kind of dropping everything on the missus, and that doesn't feel right. Just like make a mess, leave, and she's got to clean up. She's still in school, but because I just called, actually, when you showed up today. I was just on the phone with some health insurance stuff, trying to get that all figured out, and right now we're covered. But when does it end? What do I got to do? How do I move? Even the pension around. Yeah, but it wasn't. I didn't yell at anyone and turn any tables. I kind of just was there, and I know I should have given 2 weeks notice, but I just couldn't. I just couldn't do it. I just walked away, and you know what? I was smiling the entire time. and I'm still smiling now, but I wouldn't be smiling if I didn't have another thing lined up that I might be able to go to.
Yeah.
But so I'm hoping to do more of these over the next little while. And you said, I was talking to you a while ago, and you mentioned like a magic number for podcasts is like 7.
Yeah, when you start a podcast, they always end either before or at 7 episodes. If you make it past 7 episodes, you're like above average on a podcast.
Really?
Yeah. That's
over how long though?
I think just like, some guys will release like 4, and then they're just like, oh, something happened, or like, oh, I can't get this other person on, and then that's just like it. They just forget about it.
Oh, okay.
They do so many, and then they just kind of lose interest. They do it for the hobby, and then they just don't care enough to keep going. Or
really?
They just get excited and then stop.
Okay. I wonder if their excitement isn't like trying to monetize. I think a lot of, I love the medium for podcasts quite a lot. I've mentioned this on my, I guess I'll plug my other podcast that I do with my friend Ward. The Sierra Bravo podcast. It's up on YouTube, but I do it with him. Well, sorry, I love the medium. I mentioned it on there before, but like I do it with him because we went, overseas on a deployment together, and it's a great way for us to catch up, say hey, hang out, makes an effort for it. And then I want to do this one just like I love doing it with him, and I'm not there's no jingle. There's no video component. I'm trying to do as much as I can without editing, just because I don't want to spend any time editing whatsoever. I'm going to pretty much from wherever something sounded funny off when we started, I'm going to cut there, and then we'll roll right into our conversation for a bit. I'll say some intro stuff, and then we'll carry on. And maybe eventually I just get rid of the intro because I wouldn't need it per se. But the end goal here isn't monetization. So I'm just trying to figure out how to have as much fun. And I think maybe that's what happened, because I recently, now that I'm free from work and I've got to get rid of a bunch of stuff to go overseas for work, I was looking at having to sell everything. Right now I kind of have to sell everything by a date. But if I sell too much, I'm kind of putting myself out there risk wise, because now I don't have a a mixing spoon to cook. There's a lot of stuff I can get rid of that aren't quite like that at all, but there's certain things where it's got to be timed right. But van life, so one of my coworkers of the job that I still have, they said recently something along the lines of, "Isn't it funny how times have changed? 20 years ago, SNL made a hit sketch about living in a van down by the river, and like how it's a terrible thing. You don't want to end up living there." And then nowadays the American dream, so to speak, is to just buy a van and live out of the van and park by rivers. Yeah. So the thought was I could probably just start selling stuff now, and whenever I run out, let's just try living out of a van with the missus. But I don't think that'll work out due to her placement for school. But I watched I think it was a Vice interview or some interview with a couple that did it, and I was blown away with how integrated the entire thing they were doing was with Instagram. And they asked them, if you made $1 million, would you still be doing this? And she said, absolutely not. Or, well, I'm probably exaggerating, but she said no. Like at some point during the whole, interview and showing off everything, she confided that, like, this is to make money. And like her and her, I don't know if it's a boyfriend or what, but like they're good looking people. They're made for the camera. They're Instagram and everything. And I think what they're doing is money. So bringing this back to the podcasting, I think their sole effort is to generate income without having to work a regular job. And they talk about like the brand that they have and how they would, how they manage it, how they get sponsors, what these, like how they select sponsors they're willing to take. Cause again, it's all about the brand. And they even said like the brand that they have isn't just van life living. It's also, what do you call it? Like fashion is what they said. And I was so blown away because, well, fashion's a little counterintuitive to van life, possibly. I guess not if you're trying to be Instagrammable, but they're like all the things that I would want to do, like living out of a van, would just like not even just trying to go for the simple life, right? It'd just be like find Crown Land, park there, just hang out for like a few days. Yeah. None of that there's no point does a camera come into my mind that, what I want to craft this perfect moment to share. You know what would be funny? Here's what I would love to show. Like, hey, we're stuck and I'm spending like a time lapse of 4 hours trying to get it. Like that's the stuff that we do. That's funny. But it's such a different, I guess, look, like how, a different way to look at it is like, how do I maximize this for me? What do I think would be funny? Because I tell you what, I don't share with my friends and family like the story about the perfect brie baked in a wonton shell with blueberry. Like, that's not what I'm sharing. I'm sharing the story about, when we got lost or when we went, we got stuck down a hill or the time when we're out hunting and I see something, I just keep messing up. Like those are the funny stories. That's what you share. Yeah. But everyone's showing like a polished thing online. Like, even you and I and the trouble you and I got up to with Jarrett. Yeah, it's funny. But I did want to, while we're here, I want to show you a van that I saw on Kijiji. But it's not like, you know what? I don't even, a lot of people, I think for the aesthetic, they're trying to get like the camper vans, like, but for like a cheaper price, you can get a bigger van thing. I don't know what you would call it. I'll just show you. Maybe you know the word for it. But for a lot cheaper, and it's got everything that you could think you need. Like, do you want this? Like, it's a camper van. I guess that's what it would be called versus like, no, it's a camper van is still.
It's more a camper. I mean, it's not like it's camper pretty much.
Yeah,
I would just say it's a camper.
Yeah, it's like they took a camper and they dropped it on a truck/van platform.
Yeah.
So it looks, I guess camper, but but it's just a mini camper. So there's like more space. You know, it's a 1976 Dodge camper van. It actually says Doge in the actual article, but I don't think they meant that. Yeah, and then it's like 55,000 kilometers on it. Looks to be in really good condition, but here, I'll let you scroll through that, tell me what you think. But yeah, because you try to get one like Westphalia, or I'm probably saying that wrong, but any of like the actual vans, like the Volkswagens or the Dodge Sprinters, like they're so much money. Like it's unfortunate how like they're like 12 grand for something that could still need maybe a teeny bit of work. Like one of them was like 12 grand, hasn't run since 2020. You're just gonna have to check the tires and maybe do some electrical stuff. Yeah. Versus something like this where this probably has twice the space. Like, did you look at all the photos?
Yeah.
Like, look at the huge windows so you can see outside. Like everything's laid out well. A complete enclosed shower, fridge. They might even have an oven. I don't think it has an oven. You probably just run your, was it like when you do a baked potato in a dishwasher?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. But the only complaint is that it's got like a little leak on the roof.
That's a pretty easy fix.
That's the easy fix. I mean, you just check everything. But even like this, the condition of this it's
very clean.
It's very clean. It's only got 55,000 kilometers. All these camper van, like that one camper van has like, I think had like 200. I wonder if I can find it right now. It had like over 200,000 kilometers on it.
Yeah, that's
not working. 12 grand.
That's like kind of a big thing too. Is like the Volkswagen hippie vans.
Oh yeah, they're cool.
Yeah, they like those.
That's what it
are the
was.
ones that look good on Instagram.
Yeah, yeah.
Those are, like they're like, oh, it's the Volkswagen.
Right. This
like those are the iconic vans.
This makes me look like I'm from Bruderheim. I could be going ice fishing. I could be going, anywhere except someplace that like super Instagrammable.
Wearing a camo coat and underwear.
Yeah, and underwear.
Rubber boots.
Yeah, sandals was rubber boots. Yeah, rubber boots, underwear, and a jacket. Oh my goodness. Yeah, that's the look.
Good times.
But it's just like super nice. But yeah, $4 grand if you want to drive out tomorrow. It runs and drives. You just drive it back because you could probably bring this back to Edmonton and sell it. I was thinking like at least 6. Then if you fix a little leak, I don't know, like maybe there's something else. I guess the guy bought it off the neighbor. It just says leak in one spot. Oh, it also have to give it registered and inspected. But we know people who could do that. So
big thing just with the leak though is make sure there's no mold or anything. You don't have to strip it down.
Yeah. Well, yeah, but I mean,
we can look at that tomorrow too.
If we want to make the drive. But
I gotta get a truck for my box camper now.
Yeah. There was even talk of that because I was talking with Mom about that, and Mom was like, "Oh, you could just get a truck for Benj's camper and maybe drive that around," which is truly possible. Yeah. You could probably just sell it if you wanted this after. We could just like, I don't know. We'll talk more about it later. But even if like you wanted this, you could just sell the other one. This seems to be in better shape, and you could probably get half of whatever they're asking for this right now.
Yeah, but the box camper, because I was looking at box campers before just to look, because like it would be nice just like to have it for a weekend. But then with my last job, I never had really a day off, or like enough time off to go anywhere. So it was always like I'd load up the camper, get to the spot for one night, come back home, have to unload the camper, and then go to work. It was like it just wasn't worth it.
Yeah.
Then I got in the accident when I got my new job in the winter, and then couldn't take the camper out this year. I can't this year unless I get a new truck. But looking at campers, there's like, because mine's like very nice, like very quite pristine, but a lot of the campers were like garbage condition or totally stripped down and like need new everything. Guys are selling them for like $4 grand because they're like, they just want to like get their money back on them, and they'll just hold them because like why and
they'll just keep getting worse condition. But
and so there was one actually that came up. It was for Big Valley. Someone was like, just take it, Big Valley's here. If you go on a Big Valley, just take it. And I was like, I'll take it because it was like free camper. I was gonna put it in the field and we make it like a blind.
Yeah.
But
someone else picked it up, or is that the one we have?
He didn't answer back, but I was like,
oh,
that'd be cool, like to get that, especially because there's totally bare. I was like, just put like a mattress in there, and then we can lay in there and shoot out of it.
Yeah,
call deer, bait deer into the field, whatever you have to do.
Is baiting legal still, or I can't remember. It was like
It's feeding wild animals in
yeah.
a green way.
Yep. I'm not going to touch that much further. We'll just leave that there.
Yeah.
But yeah, okay. Well, we'll talk more about this because, like, maybe if you sold your old one and you like this one more, we could go halfers on it, and then I don't know, like we'll talk. Obviously, at the end of the day, if we were to go halfers on anything, in the end, you'd own it.
Yeah.
So we'd just we'll talk about it offline, off the cast.
Oh, I still have to move too. I don't know why I just thought of that.
Oh, when are you moving?
I'm gonna be moving because probably
Yeah.
I have to see. I either have to do it my next 2 days off, but I also have to go home and pack for Virginia because I was supposed to do that these days off, but I'm a little too busy.
Mm-hmm.
So I have to go home and pack, and then probably when I come back from Virginia, I'll move in with in St. Albert there.
Oh, okay.
So that's that'll be interesting.
Okay. No, for sure. Yeah. Well, if you need a hand, I'm not doing much, except actually I'm doing a lot this weekend, and then Tuesday I'm packing. It wouldn't take much back. Just let me know what day you're moving, and I'll let you know if I can make it.
I only got a bag of clothes.
Oh, okay. Well, then
I slept on a floor for
perfect.
a long time.
Well, you know what you could even do is you could just not move in and just get this van with me and just live in the van.
Yeah. Yeah.
Get a little heater in it. It'd be easy to store over the winter too, right? Just throw a tarp over it, nail it down, and then just leave it parked.
Yeah.
Start it once a month. Let the oil circulate. Call it good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Winterize it too. Yeah. Well, you mentioned packing for Virginia.
Yeah.
I guess we're going to Virginia.
Yeah, we're going to the land of the living.
Yeah.
Right on the beach essentially, because we're going to the Outer Banks, or we land in I think it's called Norfolk or
Norfolk. Yeah.
Yeah, and then we have to drive over to the Outer Banks, and then it's either along the Outer Banks or maybe down. I think it's in North Carolina's right there,
Mm-hmm.
Along that kind of border range is where we'll be, which is gonna be pretty cool.
Yeah.
I'll be there for 12 days on the beach, but we'll only be there for July 4th and a couple days together.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you're landing on the.
I'll land on the I'm leaving the night of the 1st, and
Yeah.
I get there the night of the 2nd.
Okay.
But so I have a 12-hour layover in Toronto.
Holy smokes!
And
at night, that's the worst time to have a layover.
And I'm on night shifts too, so I'm gonna be awake that whole layover.
Oh my goodness!
But so it was either I leave July 1st, have my 12-hour layover, and then get to Virginia that night of the 2nd, because it's after Toronto, then it's a 2-hour layover in New York, and then in Virginia. Or so I could have left the 1st and done that for $900, which I'm doing. Or I could have left on the 2nd and got just it's basically the exact same flight, just I get to Toronto later. I just leave Edmonton later.
Yeah.
But that was $1,300. So I was okay, well, for the sake of $300, I guess I'll live in Toronto for a day.
Yeah.
But I'm just gonna stay in the airport anyway.
My so I've got a layover on the way back, and my layover, it's amazing all these flight changes that I'm getting notified on. My layover went from an hour and a half in Montreal to 9 hours.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm leaving the morning of, and then I think I'm in Montreal by 9 or 10 in the morning, and then just 9 hours of nothing. Yeah. I'm sure I'll have a good time, and I'll look around, and who knows, maybe I'll even get out of the airport, go walk around a little bit, and come back. But I got to make my flight though. But it's long. That's a long time to have a layover.
The flight that I was gonna get, because they ended up changing just how the flights worked. I would have had 12 hours in New York, which would have been really cool.
Yeah.
But now I have it in Toronto, so it's what is there to do in Toronto?
Oh, wow.
It's Toronto.
Occupy the Parliament.
It's just Eastern
area.
Canadians,
Yeah.
They're not tough. But yeah, that'll I kind of, and I think flying into New York, because it's LaGuardia or something is the airport. It's directly beside New York.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm hoping I'll get to see somewhat of the city, because I've never seen cities before. I never realized New York was actually bigger than Edmonton. And I just,
Really?
yeah, like
Oh my goodness.
I just kind of, because like mom always said like, oh, like, you know, cities are big down there. I was like, mom, like I want to go to Dallas, see New York, whatever. Like they're nothing, mom. Like I've been in Edmonton. I lived in Edmonton.
Yeah, no,
And
it's completely
I
different.
watched like, a video of just traffic, and a guy was just drove down one street, and it took 30 minutes for him to get down the street, and then just like 6 lanes, and then he's pulling around corners, and there's just, you don't see the sky because it's just buildings, and like looking at drone shots of the city, and it's just the island, like I think it's like Manhattan Island or something.
Yeah, Manhattan.
It's just all skyscrapers, and then everything outside of that is skyscrapers, and then finally it dies down, but then it gets into more cities. Like there's no break.
Yeah.
There's never a break in the cities. It's just city into city into city. There's no like country like there is here.
That's wild.
So I'm I'm kind of like, I don't know what to expect. I've never seen that before. So.
Yeah. Well, yeah, their public transit is usually the ticket. Any good, like I went to Barcelona 2019, and their like having good public transit really helps. Yeah. So you don't have to get a car, and you can see, because I mean they'll have like the subways and stuff, but I guess I don't know, are they sketchy are subways sketchy in New York right now? I don't know. I know they were.
I think they're like, if you just don't, I bet Canadians won't think twice. But like I bet other Americans are like, I can't look at anyone in the eyes, I can't talk to anyone. But like I know like some family friends of ours, they went down there, and like they were like, the wife was saying like she like put her phone up and took a picture of just like a packed subway.
Wow.
And this like kind of gangster looking dude kind of just looked over at her, and like he was like, he looked intimidating, but like they weren't really, like it's just not a thing, like this, there just aren't, you know, people like that here really. Yeah. And she was like, it's okay, I'm Canadian. And then he smiled a bit, but he kind of hit it, like he's
oh my goodness,
he tried to keep that tough persona. He's like, I'm Canadian, it's okay, and
don't worry about it.
And he just looked away, smiling.
Yeah. That's hilarious. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we've been to LA for like Disneyland.
Yeah. So all I really remember is Disneyland and palm trees. And then
I think I almost got hit for like walking.
The Best Western that we stayed at too. But other than that, we never really went anywhere except
I think we went to a place for tacos.
Oh, we did. And we went to Bubba Gump's.
Oh, wow. We'll always remember Bubba Gump's.
Yeah. But
that was
like,
awesome.
We were always driving because we rented the car. And I just like I just didn't really have a concept of where we were. So I didn't really remember. I just remembered like Disneyland and then driving and the Best Western.
We were pretty young, but I mean, that was a really good time, I think, for us to go. Yeah. Because I mean, like most vacations, you don't remember all the extra stuff, but like Disneyland was awesome. And then obviously we remember a little bit. But yeah, I think I was just walking around, and I needed like someone to hold my hand to make sure I didn't get hit.
Yeah, I think I remember that actually. We were debating on going to like this Chinese food place, I think it was. And then I remember mom, like that was like when whatever happened. And then mom was holding your hand the rest of the time. And dad was holding mine and Jared's.
Yeah. Yeah, big, the Marshall boys go to the big city. Like, I mean, not as eventful as Crocodile Dundee, but it could have been.
Oh, speaking of cities, there's a car wash by my place. So you know, like how our car washes are like wands, like we have to wash our own cars.
So this is the funniest way to start this. What's happened to this car wash?
So and then like there's like the one fancy one in Fort where like you park in, and then it like sprays you with bubbles and washes you off. There's one by my house. I thought these were American. I didn't know these existed in Canada. And you like drive into it and park, and it like moves you through it, and it's got like the little like things that like whip your car and wash it. Yeah. And I want to go through that car wash so bad now because I've always like, I told Auntie.
Just in the movies.
Yeah, I told Auntie because like when we go down to the States, like we have to go through a car wash. I always wanted to go through a car wash. What? And there's one right by my house.
Yeah, you can go now.
So like I got to get some friends and go through it or something. It's gonna be
get some friends.
I've never seen a car wash like that before. It's pretty unreal. And the traffic circles in Sherwood Park are unreal. I've never seen that many traffic circles. Yeah? I've only been through like one. And I had to go through like 5 to go to a buddy's place the other day. Yeah.
Yeah, there are lots. They're kind of the new thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, millennials can't get enough traffic circles. Yeah. Apparently they do help with accidents and stuff, and they do keep the traffic flowing a little better. Depending on like if you have it on like if the routes, if the volume of vehicles coming into the traffic circle from all directions isn't consistent or like sporadic enough, i.e. if you just have like everyone's coming from one direction, like heading east to west, the north and south entrances, like, good luck, because it just is like, it'll just take some time. It's always shorter than a light, but because you're sitting at a traffic circle, you think that it's taken so long.
Yeah.
But I remember like just a couple times kind of getting like sort of stuck for 30 seconds, just waiting for all these cars to go by, and then eventually kind of just like floor it and sneak in.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Buses are wild. And
Sherwood Park's probably not bad though for that. Like there's not a ton of them.
Yeah, they're not very busy. I think it's literally just to bypass a stop sign or a stoplight. Yeah. But it was very like just I didn't expect it. I'm whipping through like 5 traffic circles. I was like, man, I just didn't know these were here. But yeah, that was a fun drive and then fun night at the buddy's place.
Yeah, I thought there were only like 1 or 2. I didn't know there were like more than that.
I might have hit every single
in Sherwood Park,
because I know I hit like 3. And then, I must have just been the way that I drove to his house from where I'm staying.
Yeah. Now that I think about it, though, like Bruderheim, any set of lights, you could just put a traffic circle there and you don't have to have lights.
We don't even have lights in Bruderheim.
Oh, that's right. We have stop signs.
Yeah.
We get rid of all the stop signs, put traffic. It's too much effort.
It's funny. Everyone, like, a lot of, like, my...
Yeah, that's right. We don't have any lights.
Yeah, a lot of my city friends are like, oh, it's probably just, like, a one-stoplight town, huh? It's like,
yeah, there's none. Yeah,
like,
I never thought about that.
No cops, no lights, no nothing. Like,
well, I think, there's cops, like, is it still, like, Tuesday, Thursday mornings?
Yeah.
That's when their rotation was in Bruderheim.
They have, like, a peace officer that drives Lamont, Bruderheim, Chipman area. And
they just rotate where they're at for the day.
Yeah.
Or for the morning. Yeah, I remember that. That's funny. Yeah, there aren't any, but there's like 3 liquor stores, or there were. One of them's for sale right now.
Yeah,
we could buy it.
We could,
and then compete with two other liquor stores.
We make. We'd have to innovate though. Like, what could we do differently? Like drive-through liquor store.
That might hit because it's a hard. Like, you're selling to people who just want to go get beer. Like, this isn't what people don't or do realize. Like, small town living, there's no like. You're not gonna be like your target audience is just the people who are there. Yeah. You don't have to have like an upscale wine liquor store.
Yeah,
because you don't. So like, what do you add differently? Yeah, you could be onto something with like a drive-through, but aside from a drive-through, like, I don't think you could make it more blue collar, more white collar. I don't think you could do anything different. Like, the only thing people are gonna care about is the price.
Even like make sure it's open on Sundays and weekends, and then
if we had extended hours, that'd probably help.
24-hour.
24? That's not allowed. You can sometimes go to 2.
You could do day shift. I'll do
2 in the morning. Would we have enough people for that?
We just need.
We'd have to let everyone know.
One day, one night.
That's what we do. We put on everyone's like we advertise on like Instagram or social media just in the Bruderheim area.
Yeah.
And just say the advertising will start at like 7. 7's when parties start, and we just like let everyone know that it's open until 2 in the morning. That's an extra 4 hours of partying if you got to send someone.
Yeah.
Actually, I bet you if you ran a like actual let's say we went into a partnership with like the nearby Lily's with their delivery truck, and just also delivered booze.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, there's enough people who have parties that might just want to just order some from us, and then we just send the driver out.
Pizza and some drinks.
Your busy season would be the summer, but just stocking like strange hick parties in the area. You could do it.
Yeah.
I wonder though. Strange. Very strange. It's not often that they run out of beer though.
We should get a Timmy's. If we started like a Timmy's out there, like Lamont, right on that highway.
Mm-hmm.
The whole bypass highway. If we put a big Timmy's like truck stop there,
maybe.
I bet that would do good.
I don't know if I'd ever want to own a franchise though.
I mean,
and then like, who are we gonna hire?
If like the only thing is like if it's Timmy's, everyone's gonna stop there on the way by. Whereas like if it's true. like Joe's Coffee or like just some random like they just won't even stop. They'll be like, oh no, like I'll just go to Petro.
It's like the country cafe, and they usually have like butterflies and like some horse stuff, and they seem to have there's like this one particular drink that the missus likes, a Red Symphony, where they put like some type of tea in and man, I'm probably speaking blasphemy right now to all the white girl listeners, but I think you put some red tea in the espresso machine, and then you put it through, and then that's what makes the tea. And then you put it with like, we have it like a latte or something.
Yeah.
But apparently you only can get those, like, you can't really find that in Edmonton, but all these like country cafes have it. Like we went to, we were in Caroline as part of our honeymoon, which is like due west of Red Deer, right up again, like butting in the foothills, right up against the Rockies area. Like it's still a little ways from the Rockies just because of how far, but it's like the foothills get like, it's a beautiful country out there. I mean, I'd consider moving there, but they the cafe had a red symphony, but I think they didn't do the espresso machine thing with the tea. They just put a tea bag in it, and Victoria was upset. I can't, I can't figure that out. But anyways, it's a thing allegedly. I mean,
might be the move. Just like start something really ridiculous that city people like.
In the country? No.
Make them drive out here. So it's like, well, you're here, so you have to eat, you have to do this, you have to do this.
Yeah.
We got a hotel, so like $500 a night. It's
just have
cheaper than your rent.
Electric dance music festival in Bruderheim, EDM.
We'll just put,
is that what you're thinking? Like a show or something?
We can put like a Tesla supercharger and just be like, oh, everyone come here. And then they're stuck there for like hours because they have to charge one after the other. So it's like, well, we got food, but you have to pay.
You put an EV charger. Someone's going to smash it. like these electric cars are just deployed by the government to monitor our brain waves.
Yeah. We'd have to like
someone
block the Tesla logo or something, or like make it camo or something so they think it's like an ornament.
Yeah. Well, remember that time when like it was like a big thing in Bruderheim that someone was like flying an American flag?
Oh, really?
Yeah. Do you remember that? No,
I don't think I remember it.
Yeah, it's been a little while. But I don't know. Like that's the level of like what constitutes his drama out there. Like, oh no, they had an American flag and a Canadian flag on the same post, which I mean is incorrect. But besides the point, that was the thing that like some people got up in arms about.
Yeah.
And they, but yeah, that's funny though. How did we even get to this?
I don't know.
It'll be funny to re-listen to this. I'm really interested to see how you and I sound together. Because we're probably similar, but not super the same. Like I think you and our dad sound a lot more similar.
Yeah.
If you were to leave like a voicemail, so you could try like calling his old coworkers and see if you can spark up a conversation with them.
Yeah, everyone.
That'd be pretty funny.
I always get that. Like you look and you sound just like your dad now. And then like, even who was it? I can't remember who it was, but it was a friend of ours she's not from here. She has like an accent from Europe.
Mm-hmm.
And she was like, oh, it's exactly like your father, and like just so close to your father, and like she was just talking away, and it was a good like 10 minutes where she was just explaining exactly how I was like dad. And
okay.
And then I just kind of was like,
interesting.
Yeah. And then as soon as I like replied to her, I was like, I actually sounded just like that. Like, just the way, like I was like, okay, I see it.
Sometimes I'll catch myself in what and how I'm saying things, and I'll be like, neither, probably a good thing. It's just it's obviously not a bad thing, but it's like, well, when you talk about like measuring the impacts of people on your life, you've created this speech cadence that I deliver my communications through.
There's sometimes I'm definitely like, sometimes I'll say something, I'm like, Dad definitely said that to me before. Like exact same way, exact everything. Dad said
same
that
delivery.
To me before.
Yeah. Even the way we say yeah.
Yeah. Like father, like son, eh?
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah.
Let's see. Oh, is there anything you want to talk about Virginia?
That's
what we were talking about.
Yeah. Virginia. I mean, I got new Ray-Bans for the beach.
Oh, cool.
I got some nice button-ups, man. Oh,
okay, right on.
I have to wash my one button-up though because I wore it to the my buddy's place for a little get-together, and then it got a little sweaty because we were just having fun. Whatever, we went out for a walk and then it was hot and just throughout the night got warm. And then somebody else was wearing it for like a couple hours at one point, and then after that she gave it back to me. It's a long story, but It was a part of a game. We had to change shirts. It was weird, but I mean, we didn't.
It sounds weird.
We didn't change shirts, but like it was like I think it's some game called like Buzzed or something. And she drew a card that was like change a shirt with someone, and then she like I want to.
Okay, well,
so I just gave her my shirt and then I put a sweater on and then
where
that was that for like 2 hours.
where were you?
It was at Buddy's place for get together for
Okay.
for our win.
Oh,
But,
okay.
Yeah, there was no nude. Don't worry.
There was no alcohol
we were
involved.
it was all like
yeah,
it was
okay,
all calm. I just threw a sweater on and tossed my shirt at her.
PG, no worries.
Yeah, it was
That's
PG.
funny. Sorry, I just I was listening and
We aren't getting demonetized. Don't worry.
yeah. Yeah, but I was listening and I heard the words, but I didn't understand the words, and then all of a sudden, whoa!
It sounds
funny,
a lot
though.
weirder than it actually was.
Well, I mean that's a lot of like youth group stuff too, right? And like young adults games, and
Yeah,
they're silly on purpose because everyone wants you to be so serious all the time. That's your little bit of escape. But I really want to go to a tobacco farm in Virginia if possible.
Cool.
That would be
That
so
would be
cool.
really cool.
Just go, and then I don't consume tobacco or anything like that for health reasons and probably money, and then also just like I have in the past, but it's not I just think it would be interesting. It's a staple of the region,
South.
Virginia gold. Yeah.
Some
So it
cotton.
just it'd be even that would be cool. But just to go see what like they historically farm. It's wild. You know what's growing in our neighbor's field back home, like the parents' neighbor field?
Are they growing hemp?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a big thing now.
I couldn't believe it. I saw I was rolling up and I was like, what in the world happened here? Like like pigs will fly type feeling. Like I saw it and I was just everywhere.
Did you?
It's there's so much of it now.
Yeah. Did you see that like little hemp industry factory that they're building just outside town? They have thousands of hemp bales back there, and like
Really?
And when I first drove by, I just didn't like clue into that's the hemp whatever, because I knew they were doing the development there for it, but I just didn't put two and two together. I was like, why does this guy have so much hay? Like he had the greatest year. Like this dude's rolling in money with hay.
Yeah.
And I was like, but that doesn't look like hay. Like that's not hay.
Yeah.
I was like, that's all I can think it would be. And then I realized like, oh, it's hemp. Yeah.
Should do they need power engineers? Do they? You want to see if you could work for
look
them?
into that actually.
Yeah, maybe eventually. I don't know. Actually, they might. That'd be cool.
Yeah.
That'd be cool from the area. You're able to respond quickly if anything happens, and you get to eat at Lily's if you go out for lunch one day.
Yeah.
It's kind of nice.
Lily's at lunch.
Yeah.
These are the Ray-Bans I got for Virginia.
Oh, that's pretty cool. Oh, you got the
I
got with
them
the
and these.
you got two. Holy
Yeah.
smokes! I got one. Funnily enough, like I don't enjoy spending money per se as much as most people. Like the act of like I get the worst buyer's remorse. Like even if I buy something I need or something I've been thinking about, like even when I bought this podcast equipment, like I'd been thinking about it for a year.
Yeah.
And like I ended up getting it, and I just like, oh no, what have I done? But I've been using it and I've been enjoying it, and it's been a good time, and it helped out at the wedding run sound. But just the one thing that I probably will never not spend money on again is sunglasses.
Yeah.
I can't. It's just it's not just like the feel and everything, but it fits right in. I almost would describe it as like footwear in the fit. Like it really does make a difference because it feels like you're not wearing anything if it works right. And then the lens that I've got on it is like perfect. It's very scratch resistant. I take care of it. I keep it in a case, and I'm not losing them anymore. I used to lose like sunglasses all the time, but since I got nice ones, I haven't. And like when I was out, deployed overseas in the desert, that's when I got them. When I was actually in Barcelona, our brother helped pick them out for me. But
He told me
I think he just told me to get these.
his story of like getting you to get the sunglasses was the funniest thing ever.
Was it?
He was
I should.
Yeah, he was like, yeah, we were sitting there, and Jaden had like the $20 fake Oakleys from the gas station. I was like, Jaden, just get the sunglasses, man. They're a good deal. Buy the sunglasses. Get rid of the
Yeah.
Oakleys, the fake Oakleys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was probably him and Han, but I went back in the desert with him and it just made the world of a difference. Just like having really good sunglasses to, and protect your eyes and they also do have a look. Like they look good. I obviously couldn't have picked them out. Like everything that I like doesn't look, well, not everything that I like doesn't look good on me, but it helped. I can't maximize, looks. That's just not what I'm capable of doing.
I think the blue ones are going to look good on me, but the purple ones, I'm not sure.
Yeah, well, you'll see. I mean, I think the blue ones will match your eyes, but you're not seeing your eyes. But I think they'll look more Benj to me.
Yeah,
because like the blue will be there. Yeah,
they're pretty. It was a really good deal too, because they gave like $60 off. Like it was basically like free polarized lenses. That's what they did.
Mm-hmm.
And then when you bought another pair of glasses, you got the whole order 30% off.
Mm-hmm.
So I got the 2 pair of glasses for like $300, and it was supposed to be 500 something.
Wow,
and then
that's a lot of money.
I won enough money to cover it off of the NHL. So.
Oh my goodness, yeah, yeah. You've been getting into that sports betting stuff.
I've been doing unbelievable at it too.
Really?
Yeah.
Maybe I should give you some money to play with.
Yeah.
If you can, make anything.
Is
there more stuff for you to bet on now, or?
There will be. It's pretty like you lose money if you go like unbelievably risky for tons of money.
Mm-hmm.
But like there's a very simple way to make money regardless of what you do. But
Mm-hmm.
you'll just either make not as much money or you'll make more money.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where I'm at right now with the Tampa Bay and Colorado.
Mm-hmm.
They're in the finals right now.
Yeah.
If Colorado wins, and they were favorites to win like back when I made the bets.
Mm-hmm.
So if they win, I get like $400 and then plus my like $20 back or whatever I bet.
Yeah.
And then if Tampa wins, I get like $680 and then my whatever money I put on them too. So either way, I'm making bank, and I've already made a lot of money.
You're gonna no matter who wins, you're making the bets back.
Yeah, I either lose like the $20 here and then make 400 here,
or you lose 20
here
and make
700 here,
700.
600 to 700 here.
That's kind of that's wild.
Yeah,
that's weird.
It's pretty like.
How do they? So you just were able to bet on each team at the same time?
Yeah,
and be guaranteed. How does that work? How do most people just like? Why doesn't everyone do that then?
Because no one you also have to know sports, like legitimately know sports.
Oh, okay. So you're not just betting on who wins. There's something a little bit more to it.
Yeah, like
okay.
Colorado is like blew the socks off everyone this year. So I was like, okay, well, I'm definitely gonna bet on that. Like they're getting to the finals. Like they're either getting far or they're getting to the finals.
Mm-hmm. And
then Tampa Bay won the last 2 years. They're going for a three-peat. So I put a bit of money on them as well.
Mm-hmm.
And then I also put there's clear especially in first rounds, like obviously, so that was like $40 gone for that.
Yeah.
And then there's always in NBA, just for example, there's the first seed versus the 8th seed, or like the first seed. Now it's like they do a playoff tournament to get in, so it could be lower, but
yeah.
And like the first seed's gonna win.
Mm-hmm.
And like people are like, well, what if it doesn't win? Well, then bet on every first seed, because it's impossible that every first seed is going to get beat out first round, especially like March Madness.
Mm-hmm.
There's like I think there's like a 97% chance now that, or like 99% chance that the first seed always wins, because there's only one time the first seed hasn't beaten the 16th seed in a tournament. So you just bet on that, and then you make all your money back that you essentially bet, and then like a little bit more, like maybe $60, and then you take that, and then next round you move that to the next. Because I put in $200, and then I won 1,000. So I actually won like 1,500. So I took 1,000 out, and so like I'm up. I'm already up. Like I've already have money.
Even if you lose everything, you're still walking away with an $800 gain.
I'm not sitting here like all worried about it. I just look at it and like legitimately like, okay, I'm willing to lose $20 on this like really good team, but I'm not like 100% going in on them. I'm like every single number one seed or every single kind of better team, I'll throw some money on. And then there is a little bit like in NFL, I just like Joe Burrow. So I put money on the Bengals, like not like $10, but it's the Bengals, and I just like them, and I like Joe Burrow, so that's why I did it. And then they ended up getting the Super Bowl.
Oh my goodness, yeah.
So I almost got like $2,000, but and but you just kind of have to know, like, go round by round. And then obviously, I did like kind of before the playoffs, I did Avalanche and Tampa, like, just because I just like fully believe that they were going to get far into the finals potentially. Because if they get far,
So
you can also cash out
at the start of the at the start.
Start of the playoffs.
You put a bet on both of them.
Yeah, and
they both made it to the final.
They both made it to the finals.
And that's how most of the money you're going to make off of the playoffs.
Yeah,
was from that.
Because it's
those two picks. Did you pick a couple more?
I did, but I didn't pick. So I always have to look at it. The way that I look at it is in like the whole tree. We'll just use just the NBA just because it's simple.
Okay.
To work with.
Yeah.
So you got your 8 seeds, Western Eastern Conference.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, number 1 seeds are going to go far, whether just second round or they'll get to the conference finals.
Okay, so you would then just put a bet on both those teams to win.
Yes, if they are like.
If you think they're going to win.
Yeah, like
and if you think they're going to get there, good chance.
Like,
okay.
If it's like the Golden State Warriors, they were like the 3rd seed, but they were going to get far. And they won the championship, but they were going to get far.
Mm-hmm.
Like a lot of people were saying like, no, it's going to be like the Miami Heat or the Phoenix Suns. But like, I knew the Golden State Warriors were going to get far.
Yeah.
Because just looking at team by team, they've won the championship like 4 times now. They've been to the finals like 7 or something like that. Like they have the experience.
And you're able to cash out. So even if they don't make it to the very end, you could get to like, would you ever get, so like, let's say you made the correct picks for 4 teams and now you got the 4 of them in the quarterfinals.
Yeah.
Would you pull on any of them or would you just hold till the end?
It depends. So I'll usually pick like 1 or 2 teams to bet to get far.
Yeah.
And then the rest of them I'll just go like, okay, which team do I think will actually win this series? And then I'll bet on them to move up. And then that always balances. Like I come out even with that.
Mm-hmm.
And then the riskier ones of, okay, these 2 teams are going to get to the finals. Then that's where I tend to make more money. And then especially like, so say Golden State got to the conference finals and I bet that they were going to get to the finals. And it was like start of the finals, like say I put $20 down. And if they get to the final or they win the championship, I get like $500.
Yeah.
They'll like offer a cash out for like 150 maybe. Cause it's like they're in the Western Conference finals, but they aren't in the finals yet.
Yeah.
And then if they win the Western Conference finals, and it's like, okay, well then we'll offer you $250 right now to drop this bet. And then you also can watch as the games go, which is, again, you could lose a little bit, well, not lose money, but you could not win as much money if like, say Golden State lost the first 2 games.
Mm-hmm.
Then that cash out's going to drop because it's like, okay, well, we don't care. We're going to get his money either way. But like, if it's a surefire thing, they want you to take the cash out because they're like, we don't want to give you all this money.
Yeah, we don't want to give you the full 500. Yeah. We want to give you 250.
And that's what a coworker of mine, he bet on the Flames to get to the playoffs.
Yeah.
And once it became a surefire thing, or like essentially a surefire thing, like they were right above, like there was like a 80% chance they were getting in.
Mm-hmm.
And they did get in, but then his like betting, whatever, they offered him a cash out of $500, whereas if he stayed in, he would have got 800.
Mm-hmm.
And he just took.
You may as well take the cash, for $300.
Like be greedy.
I mean, because it's. I mean, obviously, I'm not holding the money and holding the bag. You know that you might want to inch out, but yeah, we're talking a 20% chance of losing. All of it, or I mean, there's probably a mathematical code that he technically would have had optimized if he didn't take it, but like $500 is, I don't know. To me, $500 is $500. Like that's a pretty, you're up. It's for sure. You can, and then you can like move some stuff around too, because that's probably what you do too, right? So he'd probably take the 500, and then if he wants to be. Take his original bet out and then take up to an extra $100. So no matter what, at the end of the day, he's finishing everything up with $100, and then he could just play with the rest of it for the rest of the thing. Yeah,
it's pretty like it's especially
So how are they making
sports too?
Yeah,
and so you just kind of have to ride. Like I rode the Olympic hockey.
Yeah,
and then I rode the March Madness. And then now it's NBA and what's the other sport? NBA and I don't know why I don't remember this.
Oh, all good.
NHL.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Oh,
NBA and the NHL, and then it's gonna get into baseball. Not for a little bit, I think, but baseball
Okay.
eventually.
yeah.
But you just kind of like, I don't even bet like during the season. Like people will go and like, this is what loses you money in sports betting, in my opinion, is you go game by game and you bet on a team, because you're always gonna have like a favorites. And like a lot of people who were with the Oilers, the Oilers started out hot.
Yeah.
And so you might win some money there, but then you're like, oh, like they're hot, they're alive, like they're gonna win. And then they had a slum where they lost like 8 in a row.
Yeah.
So, like guys were losing hundreds of dollars because they just kept betting $100 on every game because they're like, oh, like Oilers are gonna come back, they're gonna come back, and then they didn't.
Versus saying $100 spread out over 5 teams to get to a certain point.
Yeah,
which is what you do, and then it balances everything out. You wouldn't make as much if you bet $100 same team every single time, but your chance of like them losing like the chance of over a long enough span, like they're gonna lose a game.
Yeah, like it's
and they'll lose a cup, yeah, and eight times in a row they could,
yeah. There'll always be there will always be a time or a moment where the team you're betting on isn't gonna win.
Yeah.
And then when you bet on a team constantly and they keep winning for you, you get too into the groove of, oh, I can throw more money. It's the same thing in casinos where like you get comfortable winning.
Yeah.
Like those little wins here
and you're not pulling out.
You're
not pulling out 500
happy,
like
so like
$20 every time you're up.
Yeah.
40.
Even slot machines. Like if you go and you sit, like there's actually like a little bit of evidence here where if you go and you go up to a guy at a slot machine, you're like, how you doing? He's like, I haven't won anything. If you sit by him, your first 5 spins will win you money. Not like every single spin, but you will come out with more money than you went in on those first 5 spins directly beside him, because that just triggers him to like every
keep
time
going.
It works, because he's like, oh, like this guy I can't stop now.
Yeah,
this row is hot, whatever. Like this is my machine. It's gonna be hot soon. Like it's just that mindset of, oh, I'm winning, and then like, okay, I'll win soon, and then they're so far in a deficit where they might win big and it brings them back to even, and then they still keep losing.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where the addiction comes in.
Yeah, well, I played slots once. No, I guess twice now. But the first time I did, I was playing. I was like, this is boring. Yeah. Like, this is so boring. I don't understand what I'm doing. And I was like, but, I threw like $20 and I was like, well, let's see what this is all about. And then halfway through, I was like, a big win, auto spin. It's doing all this stuff, tons of noise, tons of lights. And then I was up like $20, and I cashed out immediately. I was like, okay, I understand it. I cashed out. I was like, I this is how this works. I'm leaving. I understand now. Yeah. Like that was it. I understood, and that's what I needed to learn out of this, whatever that was, an experiment or whatnot. Like I got all I needed that day and I left.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then another day, I think the only other time I've played, I think I put in like $10 and it was like gone in 2 minutes. And I was like, well, that's it. And I just walked away. Yeah.
If you want to have fun gambling and you don't want to get addicted, just have no emotion walking in.
Yeah.
Just go there strictly for just like, oh, it's going to be a fun time. And just nothing else. Like, don't go in like, oh, like if you're betting on
I hope I'm going to come up
or oh, I'm going to win so much money tonight. Like, don't go in with the mindset. Just go in like, yeah, whatever, it's a night.
Yeah.
And set a limit and you're fine.
Yeah. And I think like I had a mentality of like on the couple of times I played blackjack, like I'm going to play cards.
Yeah.
And it's a little more fun when there's something on the line, but at the end of the day, if I leave, you set your limit, right? It could be like $40, could be, I don't think I've ever set a limit higher than 60, but again, I've probably only been like 3 times, but it'd be like, one time I was up, one time I was down, but yeah, just if I leave here and I'm out $60, but I had a good time playing cards, I've won in the end. Yeah. Do you, can you so can you bet on rugby? Will you ever get to that point? Because you're starting to get into rugby now.
Yeah, I could, but not. It would be like world
rugby,
high level rugby.
Oh, okay.
Whether it be Olympic or the leagues that are like the big leagues, like in Europe, the European League or things like that. But yeah, it's a lot of a big thing too with team sports is like you never really want to do like there's there's betting that you can do with like individuals. So like you can bet like for the Oilers, you could say like Connor McDavid's going to get over 3 goals.
Okay.
Or like, and like all these little bets that you can do.
Yeah.
I'll bet like 50 cents on some of those just for fun, like 50 cents. Whereas like guys will go like $50. And like that's again where you lose money. The same thing as like every single game, if you bet, you're going to lose money.
Yeah.
So you have to, and like another thing I do too is with baseball, I'll take like all the games for that day and I'll bet $1 and do a big parlay with who I think's going to win.
Mm-hmm.
And then like if I win, it'll be like $100,000.
Mm-hmm.
But like
holy smokes, yeah.
I'm just not like, if I lose, okay, it's $1. And then I just the Blue Jays, this team, like it's just fun to pick.
There might even be a mathematical thing that like suggests that you shouldn't put more than $1 or 50. Like, I mean, because the odds are astronomical, and I guess that's how. I guess it's like scratch offs, right? And how people fall into that kind of thing. But I mean, if it's only $1 and it doesn't cost you any extra effort, and you already have some other bet on the game or the team or something, like throwing an extra $1 out is like, I mean, I guess you're technically throwing a money away, but I mean, if you're doing it to have fun, really, like that could be kind of that'd be kind of cool, kind of nerve wracking.
Yeah,
the odds probably aren't good. Like McDavid has in the past done like three goals easy though.
Yeah, there's especially it's where guys will bet.
They probably bet more on like shutouts. Shutouts were probably like really high odds in the playoffs because I don't think there was a game where they had a shutout. They had a game where there was almost a shutout, but I don't think there was a single game where the Oilers, while they were in the playoffs, had a shutout.
There was a big. It was big with the women's Olympic hockey.
Oh,
they stopped doing like at least
shutout bets.
They stopped doing like goals over because you could say like, oh, this game's gonna have over 5 goals. So people were putting like this game's gonna have over 7 goals, and it's like normally like just doesn't happen very often in hockey. So the odds are like, okay, well if you bet $10, you're gonna make like $200 over the 7. So people were just dumping money into like this game's gonna get over 7 goals.
And they just kept getting over 7 goals.
Team Canada is unbelievable, the women's team.
Yeah.
And so, and like for them, like this is their main stage. This is their Stanley. Like this is every moment.
Yeah.
So they go out and they don't give up. So they were blowing teams out like 7-2 and like
holy smokes,
9-3.
Oh
and, like,
my
just
goodness,
12, like just blowing these teams out. So they stopped these bets for like high scoring games because they're like, they're gonna score. Like we have to stop.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's another thing too. Is like the all these like gambling, everything. They know what makes them money, so they're gonna.
Well, it's
draw
like
you into that.
It's like insurance. I recently learned about how they calculate the probability of events with like such a low frequency of occurring.
Yeah.
Because like for example, like flooding, it's it affects a lot of people, but like between a window of like one day, right, or like a week or something. Like it's you're not seeing flooding happening every other day, and it's only impacting 1 or 2 people, right? So you're trying to predict how much should I charge for insurance that'll cover this like once in a lifetime event, because that's going to happen once in a lifetime. Like insurance has to cover events that happen daily, such as theft, and determine what to charge for that. They have to cover events that happen monthly, which would be like maybe like fire, I guess, but then they would also have to have to calculate how much should I be charging for these like crazy like Calgary floods or the major fire that happened and wiped out a town in BC last year.
Yeah,
that's that would all have to be considered. So
even wiped out Grammy's place too.
Yeah, exactly. And so they're with that. All I'm getting at is like even outside of sports betting and sports betting has been around since forever. Now they're just doing it online, but now they got even all those formulas, and they probably hire mathematicians to just do probability estimates on all of this, right? Like Moneyball. So they're, those they know what they're going to make money, even though it sounds like how are they making money? The Benj strategy is out there, but not everyone uses that. So that's, I don't know, it's interesting. But so like with rugby then, You just been getting into it. How are you liking it? So how long have you been doing it? How long has it taken you to learn do you know the rules?
I have no idea what I'm doing.
Okay.
But I have a slight idea.
Okay.
What I'm doing.
Yeah.
It's kind of, I've done 3 sessions now, or 3 like practices now.
Yeah.
The first one was just kind of, I was there just watching.
Yeah.
The second one was like, I showed up late because I was getting there after work, and they were fine with me showing up late. But I showed up, and then they started a scrimmaging drill. So they just split into 4 teams, everyone into 4 teams, and then play. And then I showed up, and I was like, the head coach, I was like, hey, I just kind of got here. What do you kind of want me to do? Because I thought they were going to like teach me how to tackle and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, oh, here's your penny. You can just go play. I was like,
oh,
okay. so I hop in there, and then and he was like, I was like, I don't like, what do I do? And then he was like, oh, just 1 second. And he called the guy over. He's like, Ben's never played before. Says Ben, yeah. And then he walked.
And he just walked away.
And so I was like, okay. And then this guy's kind of like just telling me what to do, where to go, and stuff like that. And then I picked it up pretty quick, how to like, what to do.
Mm-hmm.
But I still am like an amateur. But now,
just in the scrimmage though.
Yeah. And then this last night's practice was like the huge learning curve where like everything fell into place for me. Like I'm like, okay, like this is my spot. This is what I do.
Yeah.
This is how we have to try and do defense. This is what I have to try and do. Like I have to change because I'm used to like football and other sports and like just different things. Yeah. Different movements where I have to change to these rugby movements. Mm-hmm. But I gotta say, it's quite the. It was pouring rain last night. Yeah. And we were doing this 100 pass drill, which is where we have 4 lines, and then it's only like maybe like 10 feet of space, and we all are in a line, like 4 lines, and when we have to sprint and pass the ball 100 times back and forth, and we all have to run through this and do it. And it's pouring rain, and we're doing that, and then coach will stop us halfway through, and then or like if we mess up or something, because we always would get like 60 or like 30 passes, and then like someone would make a mistake where they stepped over the end line, or they dropped the ball, or we weren't counting loud enough. And then coach will blow the whistle. We have to go down to push-ups, and so we're knocking out like 10 push-ups at a time, and then up, and then I can't remember what they're called, but they're like, you grab the guy and you like hit their chest. You like you both like wrap your arms around each other, and then you pump chest with each other.
That's very strange, but okay.
It's like pouring rain. We're just beating chest with each other. And then another one was like, you're down on all fours, and like, so yeah, hands and feet, and then you have to grab the other guy's arm and bring him to the ground and like wrestle him to the ground. And then and just like, I was like, man, like
in the scrimmage, are you guys trying to do that? Is that allowed? And then is it just what people do?
It's just to build strength. And
okay.
Like build our muscle,
core,
and warm up our shoulders at like hitting each other and stuff like that. So this all like, it's not like a punishment, but it's like punishment just to whatever. So that was like that, but I gotta say, in the rain when we're just beating chest and chanting, it's like, this is like, I am a man. Like, this is the pinnacle of manhood. I am Clark's son.
Oh my goodness! Wow. Yeah, that's funny. Yeah, I got that a little bit with the military when it's just terrible out, and then you just start randomly laughing. There were some exercises and stuff that I've done where it's just absolutely awful, and then you're just like get a burst of energy for like really sadistic, weird reasons. Like, there's no one else doing this. I'm doing this. It's pretty funny. That's cool. No, I'm glad you like it. It's too bad I don't quite have the time otherwise, or like, well, with the whole job thing too, and like getting out of here. Otherwise, I'd probably try and join you if I had the time. We'd have to see. I don't know, but it'd be cool. I will live vicariously through you.
Yeah, I'm a member of the Klansmen.
Nice, that's cool. Anything? We're coming up past an hour and 9 minutes. Want to keep going, or?
Yeah, let's push it.
Okay, we'll push it. Energy industry. Yeah. You said you want to talk a little bit about that. So maybe like you got to explain what you do and how you have this knowledge.
Yeah, so I'm a power engineer. No one, absolutely no one really knows what that is. There's not even like my bank and stuff like that. They don't even know what it is. They don't have options for me to select that as occupations. Yeah. So like actually applying for American credit card for Virginia, they're like, what's your occupation? I'm like, power engineer. And they're like, okay, well, so is that in like the government? Like, what industry is that? I was like, well, it's like the energy industry.
Yeah.
Like, okay, so are you like IT or you work? I'm like, no. Like,
Yeah.
I'm like, I work processes, I create power and like steam and then so it's very not well known unless you're in industry, you know who they are, but otherwise you have no idea what power engineers are. But we basically run processes for plants, whether that be refineries. For me, I'm in a power plant right now. Or there's even like food processing plants, hospitals, schools. Used to be dry cleaners needed to have a power engineer.
Yeah.
Really anything that uses energy or steam, you have to have a power engineer in Canada and in a lot of Europe, and I think pretty much most of the world, but the States.
Because a lot of buildings too for their HVAC power, like large buildings will have a power engineer too, right?
Yeah,
gotcha.
And it's pretty it's a pretty good business. We're pretty important to a process, which is nice. Our jobs are always there.
Yeah.
When they are there.
Mm-hmm.
But so right now I'm working in power plant. It's the last coal-fired plant in, I think, Canada actually right now. And obviously the push is to get off of coal power because it's deemed not green and deemed dirty, even though 99.9% of our emissions are totally clean. Because that's just not like, no matter what we burn, it's going to be clean because we're in Canada. It's not we're not in like China or something where we can just pump emissions. Like, we're so regulated where if we like if we like accidentally make a spill just on our property on the ground with a lime or something that we use or like any process, or if we accidentally don't have clean emissions, we get fined so heavily.
Well, I think
we get fired.
And I think, I don't know if it's Canada wide, but I know in the military, like the difference between a small spill and a large spill, there is no medium spill.
Yeah.
5 liters.
Yeah.
It like you happen to like empty your truck, like you're off-roading and you're just a tear in it, and you've emptied the contents of your fuel on the earth. It's technically a large spill.
Yeah.
And for what the military was concerned, I don't know if that's everything, but I think it's pretty like I say that's kind of dumb just because like it's such a small jump, you know, to what like it doesn't seem to match how we build things, because I think there should probably be maybe more like a tier where it's like, hey, we have, you know, we've dropped a container of oil that we're going to use to put oil in a vehicle, just like I'm not talking military, I'm just talking about like civilian side, right? So, you know, there's like small containers for moving around fuel, and oil and other hazards like that to the environment. Then there should probably be another tier where it's like, hey, we've emptied the contents out of like our equipment by accident, right? To categorize and track that a little bit. And then there should be one where it's like, you know, pipeline opened up and it's created a lake of Texas tea everywhere. Like you know, it's just like the classification, right? Like me accidentally spilling, you know, 5 1-liter containers of oil is by rights the same as like opening up a pipeline and like allowing it to spill all over the earth.
Yeah.
I mean, not actually how that works. I'm sure it's definitely treated differently, but I always thought it was funny that who made that number up? 5 liters. Like they picked a number, I think, and then ran with it far. Because 5 liters really is not a lot. And who knows? Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's something like 20 liters. That's maybe a little more understandable, but it's still it's so arbitrary. I don't get it.
Yeah, it's very, and it's especially in industry anyway. We're just so regular. Like, no one understands that like Canada's probably the greenest country on earth. Like, just our processes are everything.
Yeah.
We're very, very green and very, very like non-emission. Like, we have emissions, but we control them so well.
Yeah.
And we have so many ways to keep green emissions now that we can go 100% coal and we'd be okay.
Yeah. We'd be better than most. Like, we'd hit our targets is what you're getting at. Like,
we would not really change at all in our emissions.
We're not. You wouldn't see us move past another country in emissions, you wouldn't see anything crazy. Like there'd be no difference in the global scale of everything.
Yeah. But it's interesting now because the government just wants to get off coal just to say we're green, just to like tack it onto their resume.
Yeah.
But only way to move off of coal to something greener is to gas, because that's the most affordable option.
Yeah.
The government doesn't want us to do gas because they just don't want us to have our industry. They want us to suffer, the government.
Yeah. Well,
And especially now, like they're putting all the blame on Russia about the oil and gas industry right now.
well, they can't. They shut off the supply.
Yeah.
I mean,
And like it's the government's fault that we don't have gas right now, because they could very well open up a pipeline or open up anything and we could have our own gas. We could start supplying our own gas. That would, if we wanted to, like the best way for us to get out of this like little recession we're really starting to come into is just start making gas and selling it to everyone that's boycotting all the gas from Russia. Because Russia, like they don't care. Like they're gonna make their gas. And everyone else is gonna like, oh, we're green, we don't need, but it's like, okay, well, we need gas from Russia.
well, then we're just gonna buy it from Russia. Yeah.
So
that's what we'll do.
If Canada can just like step up and be like, yeah, we have gas, and we start selling gas to everyone, we would get so rich, and our country would be like so much better off economically right now.
Yeah.
But they aren't gonna do that because it's not green. And so now everyone's like, okay, well, we have to go to electric rather than gas. But
where do you get the electricity from?
yeah, gas is already so expensive in the power industry to burn gas. Just right now, it's so expensive that plants will just shut down instead of make power, because why would we waste money? Like, we're not going to waste money. We're not going to do it. We don't care if this province doesn't have power. We aren't going to waste our money to produce you power.
Yeah.
So plants are shutting down now. There's some plants that moved from coal to gas, and they're just like, you know what? No. And they shut off. They just did like $100-200 billion conversion, whatever. And they're just like, yeah, no, we're shutting
This isn't going to make enough money.
And then, so now power's going up.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, well, let's just put more wind turbines and solar panels. But no one realizes that those don't actually work 100%. Like,
how do you store it?
The windmills, they barely work. We just don't have the wind up here. Maybe in Lethbridge area down south.
That's where they have the most of them. Yeah.
And like solar's very, very hit or miss in Canada, whereas like in kind of closer to the equator is a
cloudy
lot better.
right now.
Yeah, like we can't rely on weather for our energy. We have to make our own energy. And then no one wants to go nuclear either. Yeah. Which is another huge issue, because nuclear is the answer.
Nuclear is the future. I will say, I think Medicine Hat's probably one of the few places where we could see sun farms work. Just Medicine Hat has like the least amount of clouds all year. I'm just thinking Canada wide. And then
the thing is, they don't make money off those.
Off the solar panels?
Power company, like, for instance, Capital Power.
Yeah.
They open up wind turbines and solar farms, and they get a tax write-off.
Oh, so the only thing keeping everything afloat is the tax write-off.
So none of those, like, you can look, I think we technically have enough solar panels. If all of them are working fully, we have more than enough. Like, we could start selling power. The whole Canada could sell power to the States.
Yeah.
We have enough solar panels for that. But they're so unreliable that we get like zero power out of them daily, because it makes more sense to burn fuel to get our power than it is to sit there and wait on the sun.
Yeah.
So all those green things that like they're saying work, it's just a write-off for companies.
Yeah.
That they're not actually getting used.
An artificial economy.
Yeah. And so, and
I guess it artificially creates demand.
Yeah. And it, especially
that isn't there naturally.
Especially now, because power's shooting up. Because we're getting off of cheap fuel.
Yeah.
And we're getting so regulated, carbon taxed, everything.
Mm-hmm.
Power's going to keep going up as power companies are like, well, we aren't making money, or like, well, this, whatever. Like, power's just going to keep rising.
Yeah, there'll be less supply, more demand. Yeah, if we could have one nuclear reactor for every mid to high like level city, or maybe it's by area, that just covers that like baseline of power that's needed all the time. And you'd probably want it like at 10% off, right? Like you don't want to be put yourself in a pickle where you're going to overcharge the system because everyone, decided that, today we're just going to turn all the lights off. So you'd want to probably have 10% so you could like ramp down. And so you're always trying to keep it so that you need to make at least 10% of your energy something other than natural gas, even at the low point. And then as it goes above, you just supplement throughout the day.
It's very, because it's interesting. I'll touch on it later, but we're actually getting 5 nuclear reactors in Alberta. But I'll touch on that right after I bring up so power prices are going up.
Yeah.
Now government wants us to move to electric vehicles, which we don't have the infrastructure for, and we won't have the power for, and we won't be able to pay for the energy. Because infrastructure-wise, right now, we can fit maybe 1 to 2 superchargers on a city block. Like, so if...
Oh, like just tying in a charger into the current grid.
And we do not have the infrastructure for electric vehicles right now. Like, at home, everyone have electric vehicles.
Just in the grid.
Yeah.
Like the draw demands, and it would all be at night. They'd all come in and they'd park their vehicles and plug them in at 5.
We would never be able to keep up with the power demand either right now.
Yeah.
So like there was a house in Spruce Grove that got built, and the guy put in 2 superchargers, which was the maximum for that entire block.
So he has
the two superchargers for that entire area
block
of the city. And so that's kind of another thing is like, well, there's going to be a point where we can't support these superchargers, and like where do we go for power, and then the price of power with that, and then
go up.
So it's just we just aren't there yet for it.
Yeah.
But no one's going to look at that because no one cares. And even in California right now, they have this issue.
And like you mentioned, like if industry's there to make money, so if the demand is naturally coming about in a natural amount of time, like they're gonna step in and fulfill it.
Yeah.
You know, I think there are some novel ways they're trying to do things, like create little mini grids of these blocks and then actually have them generate power too, possibly by solar and stuff. But yeah, like it's pretty, like, it's just interesting how that guy just bought technically all of the superchargers for his area.
It's just we don't have the ability to live like that. And we just don't have. I mean, California's going through it right now. The government put out a thing because government really pushed everyone to get electric cars.
Yeah, in California for sure. Yeah,
the government's saying either charge your cars or turn your ACs on. You can't do one or the other.
You can't do both.
We don't have the power for this.
Wow. And they've been having water issues for years. Now they're getting electrical issues because of the electric.
We don't have, we don't even have the power for that now. We barely have the power now to get through some things. And if we move to this, we don't have the grid for it, so we have to redo the entire infrastructure for the grid. Yeah. And we don't have the power for it, for a long time.
Yeah. Well, I think if they get nuclear up to snuff, but we it's funny you bring that, like we actually lost, like, the West, or at least North America, because we got so scared of nuclear and we got rid of everything. We have lost, as, I don't know if you would say, like, as a culture, or we don't have the ability to produce these anymore. Like this is, I think Russia is at the point where they can bang out a nuclear reactor in like 5 years, or there's some country like that, right? Because they kept developing and making and improving, and it just goes to show how not keeping up with a specific technology, even as like a country, can really limit us in the future. And the West, like, there's no one in the West that we can just hire to build a nuclear reactor in like 5 years. All of these are going to be like 20 plus years projects because we don't know how to do it anymore. Like I just, it's such a big thing to have, like, to say, is that, like, Canada doesn't have people who know how to build this in a timely manner. We have to redo everything. Yeah. And yeah, did you want to, like, I got more to touch on that, but did you want to finish up your comments about the nuclear reactors?
Sure. So Alberta signed a deal with 2 other provinces. I don't know how many more signed on now. But Alberta in 15 years will get 5 nuclear reactors. That was what was projected. Yeah. So we have one for kind of Edmonton region. Yeah. One in Peace River.
Yeah, that makes sense.
One in Calgary. Lethbridge.
What about, and one in Red Deer?
And then, one in Red Deer as well. And then I think one in, like,
Medicine Hat South area.
Yeah. And so basically to cover the province in power.
Yeah.
And
makes sense.
That's, like, really good. And these nuclear reactors are unbelievably safe.
Yeah.
Very, like, this is a smart move.
Okay, so who's building them? Is it one company that's building them then?
It's It's
Like, I just wonder that
the
15
government
years.
is very in hand with it. Like it's a like the government is right there right now with it. Whatever I can't remember the companies that are involved, but as long as like I'm really worried the NDP is going to get in Alberta again, or like if any other party gets in Alberta, they'll rip that apart and get rid of
Mm-hmm.
it because we actually need that. But the UCP did it, so everyone's going to hate it if they aren't UCP.
Yeah.
And federally, the Liberal government does not want us to get
Nuclear.
They don't want us to do anything. They just want us to suffer. It feels like.
Yeah. Provide money for the East.
That's going to be like this. The federal government's probably going to try and stop it too, unless we can get a conservative government in.
Yeah.
The conservative government will be probably opposed to it, but they won't just stop
Shut
it.
it.
The
Maybe.
Liberal government is done.
Yeah, because it's still industry. I just that 15 years. I mean, maybe they can do it. But they must be hiring outside help. But it's also five projects in 15 years.
It's tough
tying into the grid. Holy smokes! There's gonna be a lot of money spent. We probably have to contract out because, like, when was the last time one was built? They were starting to build one in Ontario, then canceled that 5 or 10 years ago. Like we just.
Yeah, I mean,
I wonder how they're doing it. I wonder if we're not ripping off plans from Russia or something.
it's probably going to be like, I bet, just example, Capital Power again. And not that I know if they're going to be in this or not.
Yeah.
But it's probably a government. The government's going to be there in hand with the
Industry
company.
Yeah.
And then that company is going to basically build their plant and have their plant.
Yeah.
With the government, like, just basically breathing down their neck for the whole process to make sure everything's good. And then once it's all said and done, okay, the government will step back. Like the refineries and everything now. Like there's probably, when they were being built, the government was right there for it. And then once it was built and everything in motion,
They kind of hand the reins over.
Sold it off a little more. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So I see that happening. But again, this we could have started this any time, but then the push for it now is super smart because it's like, I mean, this was again pushed like 2 years ago now.
Yeah.
The sign, like the Alberta signed on.
Okay.
And so that was a big deal. Like this solves the energy problem. This solves fuel problem. This solves everything.
Yeah. And then we'll regain the expertise, right? And then we can, all these people who worked in building it can literally just pick up and move elsewhere in Canada or the US and just build more.
Yeah.
Right. Like, well, that if it does take 15 years, which, I'm definitely not an expert in plant construction or anything like that. So, this is just purely speculative, but I would imagine it'll probably coming around 20 unless they put some real firepower on it. But once it's been done that, you could probably get it down to 10 years easy. You probably half the amount of time it takes to do it. Like you could, in probably each iterative process, you could probably reduce the time. And because I think a lot of the issues that they're probably running into right now is just permits. Because they got to get permits to do everything, like absolutely everything. It's probably 5 years of bureaucratic work before they even do anything.
I know because they like Ontario. It was Ontario, Alberta, and I want to say like Nova Scotia for some reason.
Yeah.
And then there was like a couple other provinces that were thinking of signing on too. But Ontario was the starter for this.
Yeah.
And then they are like 5 to 7 years. Like it's already in motion for them.
Okay.
And then Nova Scotia signed on, and so it's going to be like 10 years for them. Like they're just moving across as provinces sign on. They move to the provinces. So I think it's like a provincial effort.
So there'll be people with expertise in Ontario that could be leveraged to help construct elsewhere.
Yeah, and then like I don't know, I don't 100% know if they're gonna go and like essentially teach the Nova Scotian people how, and then the Albertan people how, or like how it goes. But
it'd probably be the contractor and the company just moving around.
I know Alberta, like they were like, we're joining this. Like we are joining this, and then they signed on. Like it was kind of a like, you're not, this is gonna be us too. Like because Ontario and Alberta, like they're really the two biggest provinces in Canada.
Yeah.
And Alberta's like, we are doing this. Like this is not like that was like Jason Kenney signing. He was like, this is happening.
Yeah.
You and us, this is happening. I don't like this is happening.
Yeah. And it's like that'll be so good. It'll be so helpful, it's and something we need to do.
We cannot I'm gonna be so upset if it gets scrapped by a new government or something. But
yeah, well, we'll find out. But kind of expanding a little bit, just in general. Like I mean, I was like, you're hung up on the electrical stuff, but I'm hung up a little bit even just on expertise. Like, I worked for a railroad for a while before I quit, and we're all the old guard is retiring, and most of our training takes place like by doing. Our our labor force is unionized, but they're still technical experts. But like we throw them through like a small course. Like this isn't really like a trades thing that's properly set up like that. We're literally just throwing people into positions and seeing whether they sink or swim, and then if they're not swimming, we'll get rid of them. But
yeah,
the expertise is leaving, and then the young people who are showing up, they want more of a work-life balance. I mean, part of why I quit, because even I wanted that, but how am I supposed to fill the shoes of someone who has that experience is retiring, right? Because people are moving up a little bit quicker right now. So, we got people who, instead of having 10 years of experience before moving up to that whatever position, they're at like 5, like literally halving what typically happened, right? Like how the expectation then is all these young people work twice as much. Well, maybe not twice as much, but like the only way I think the only way you can supplement a lack of experience and knowledge is through sheer will and effort. But they want to give their sheer will and effort only between the hours of like 9 and 5 or whatever your work day is. I mean, on the railroad, it's never less than 8 hours. At least never was for me. But yeah, and like the good ones are going to go to where I think the work-life balance is offered, and you're either like me. I don't know. You're left with mediocrity. Like there's just a hole, and how do you fill it without forcing people into it? And there's no proper training regiment. I mean, like I had this idea that I was thinking of that, like you at any company you could implement it. Just call it the pasture. Hey, before you retire, your last 5 years, or just be like, hey, you're retired. I'll pay you half of what you made, and I just want you to be available to take phone calls between these hours. And you're gonna bring coffee to work and donuts, and you're gonna call people sports, and you can get them doing actual stuff too, like help running all the inclusion stuff. But like your sole purpose is to take everything that's in your head and pass it down to everyone else. You're out of phone, because everyone that retires at my old job, they retire and then we never hear of them.
Yeah.
Like I can't, I can try and get their number and call them and ask them questions and stuff, and I'm sure they'd love it. But like that's the only thing I can think of that, aside from like not letting them retire for longer, right? Trying to keep people on later. And I think that's what we're actively doing right now is we're always trying to, we're trying to keep them happy and around before they retire. But there's no process of like, hey, for the next month, you're going to mentor Benjamin in this specific piece of equipment that over your 40 or 30 or 40 years of experience, you're the expert. There's none of that. They don't write anything down, and then they leave.
Yeah.
And then we gotta. It's not just that we don't know how to do it now. We have to spend time and money to relearn skills that we the organization used to have. And that's I think this costs more. I think this costs more than keeping the guy on at half salary, or even just like, hey, look, you're 2 years from retirement. Stop doing your job. We're going to put someone else in the job, and you're just going to teach them for 2 years. It could even just be that. Yeah. 2 years is a long time, but and have them try and teach more and go far. Just have them roam around and teach people and show them stuff, because we're just losing it. It's just gone. And I think that's a current thing that's happening probably at a lot more places than just where I'm at. That's that's just it. So I look at it and I see opportunity, like to go and learn and try, and really you can really make your mark now, and I think that there might be some goodness. I think there's also it's going to be easier for the newer workforce to potentially put demands in of like, we want more family days, we want more opportunity to bring our family in or to meet. I don't think young people like meeting in a group work setting outside of work now. They'd rather do it during work hours, and I think that's an easy thing to concede, and instead of being so worried about how things should be, do you want them to mingle or not? You probably do. So you might just have to say, hey, last Friday of every month, you're working for the first half of the day, second half of the day, we're going to go do something. You guys will set it up, make it happen. And the main goal is just to have integration and people meeting each other and seeing what everyone's doing at the company.
Yeah.
Because that's the other thing too, is now, I think we had a lot of people who worked in a variety of departments and were able to glean what happens outside of your group. But like I was working as a project engineer in training, and aside from track, I have no idea how the company works. No, like very little idea of the demands. Like I've gleaned some of it, but it took me 2 years just to figure out how a crew works operating a train and like what their schedules are like. And I still don't understand it. I just know how it works within the contents of what I need it to. But I talked to a guy who's been there for 20 years. He knows how it works, guaranteed, right? And you can ask him. And I could have probably, I could have searched out these people, but it just wasn't, it wasn't readily accessible. So, kind of wild.
Yeah, it's even power engineering's it's a weird industry because in Canada anyway. So, my program at NATE was originally a 6-year program,
Mm-hmm.
and then it got crammed to 4 years, and now it's crammed to 2.
Holy smokes!
So we do 6 years worth of schooling in 2 years. Then we go into industry, and that industry teaches us exactly how they want us to operate.
Oh, so there's going to be a particular way they want you to do it.
Yeah.
That's different from the schooling.
So it's like schooling is basically like just throwing a whole bunch of things about industry at us and teaching us all about just every single trade and everything like that. And then we get to the plant, and then they train us how we want to work, which, like, it's good to have the knowledge to go to the plant and work, but you could technically, if you had kind of like, I guess, more sort of mechanical, like us, because we had dad who worked in industry and we were kind of close with industry. Mechanically, we're a little bit better than most.
Mm-hmm.
We could fit into power engineering quite nicely, just hopping into it.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas like people who have zero experience, never left the city, they would go to a plant and be like, it would just be the biggest shock to them on the planet.
Yeah, what's happening? What does this do? How does this work?
So there is, if you can find those people out, and that's why plants usually like hiring country boys and farm boys.
Rural people, yeah.
Because they can take them and just throw them anywhere and they'll be okay.
Yeah.
Which is like, it's an interesting thing about power engineering, because there's like, for the requirements, you have to have the schooling about everything.
Yeah.
But you could, like, I technically could have been a temp my entire life as a power engineer and lived comfortably.
Yeah.
Without any schooling, anything. But I probably would have had to jump around jobs. But if I started back in like 2009, when like we kind of went into not 2009, sorry, like when we were really coming up, oil and gas.
Yeah.
If I started then and just bounced around as a temp, I guarantee I would have had a full career as a temp, probably at 1 or 2 companies. Maybe would have got signed on permanently, but not any big roles. Just without anything.
Yeah.
Just as a power engineer, but I don't have any tickets. Maybe
certifications.
They might have wanted me to get my 4th class for some stuff, but like I could have done it, and you could technically do it now, but just it's not as easy because things are tough right now.
Yeah.
But it's and then another big line is moving into management. They require you to, like, there's kind of almost 3 levels of power engineering. There's kind of the management kind of positions.
Yeah.
There's the entire operating of the plant, and then there's the kind of temp and bottom feeders almost. And then, it's a very interesting industry. I've never seen anything like it, but I got to say that was just going to school for it was quite unreal, because I had done it before. I was a temp with Sherritt before, and that was pretty. It's pretty wild to see, just going into like legitimately into the trade now.
Yeah.
Into engineering now. It's very different now that I'm actually into it versus just as a temp. Like, if I could, like, I wouldn't get paid as much, but I would go temp because it's just like life is easy when you're a temp.
Yeah.
Whereas like now I actually have some responsibility, which I like too. Like, it's no problem. Like, I'm not going to go back to being a temp, but life was definitely easier as a temp. But it's I got to say it was quite that was just eye-opening. That was just something that was very eye-opening, was seeing the next level of power engineering.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's still kind of the management levels of power engineering.
Yeah.
So it's very, very interesting industry, very different.
No, I mean, learning from afar, just from chatting with you, I always find something, I'm always learning something new.
Yeah.
And even working for the railroad, like it's it's another world, and unless you interact with it, you'll never interact with it.
Yeah.
I think that's a lot of things with like probably just jobs in general, I guess, but maybe more so industries. Like if you don't work oil and gas, you'll never know what it's like to work oil and gas. And if you don't work for the railroad, you don't do power engineering at a power plant of some type. But we all have a lot of opinions about all of it.
Yeah.
Everything we've said, there's probably not a single person listening that doesn't have an opinion on oil and gas, energy, railroads.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I bet you they maybe even have opinions on farming.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's pretty funny place to be. But I think we will end the podcast here. Not that we don't want to keep going, but I got to use the washroom.
Same.
But we'll call that as the end of the first episode. Thanks for coming, Benj, and hopefully we do it again soon.
There's one for the rock.
What?
That's it's like in rugby. There's a lot of Scottish guys.
Oh, I thought you were speaking Arabic.
No, a guy took a rugby ball to the groin area.
Yeah,
and one of the he is Scottish. The guy who took the ball there. So the guy was kind of like mocking him in a way, just you got it right in the rock.
Oh my goodness, that's got to be wild.
Right in the rack. He was trying.
Yeah.
You got it right in the rock.
That's hilarious.
They're ridiculous, but yeah.
Yeah. Well, right on. But yeah, we'll catch you again soon, and maybe we'll do this one or two more times before I leave.
Got to do a country music one.
Oh yeah, we should. We'll do one all about it. We'll get prepared. We'll think about it. That'd be a lot of fun. Yeah. We'll do that next time.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Take care.
Hi, Mom.